Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video. This week we're going to be taking a look at my GameCube collection. I decided to do it this way just because there's so many games that taking them off the shelf and putting them in a stack like I did with my PS3 game or PS4 games would be a lot of effort, and it would be hard to put them back. So I decided to just film them this way and talk about each one this way. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. Let's move the villager out of the way so we can get started. So first up, we have Amazing Island. I just got this recently. I found it at a GameStop. I played a little bit of it, and it's really interesting. It's kind of like a combination between Pokemon and Mario Party, where you make your own monsters, and then instead of battling, you play mini games against other monsters to win. So it's a really interesting concept. I would recommend it. It's only on GameCube. It's never been ported to anything else, but it's pretty cool. Next up, we've got Animal Crossing. This was in my top 5 favorite games of all time video, so if you haven't seen that, check it out in the top corner. But Animal Crossing is a great game. Would highly recommend if you have a GameCube or anything that any of the later iterations are on. So if you have like a Wii or a 3DS, would highly recommend Animal Crossing, but this is my favorite one. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. This game's okay. It's pretty much your average platformer, but it's made by Sonic Team. It has some cool ideas in it. It's a bit short, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good game. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. I don't have the bongos, so I've never played this, but it's a rhythm game, so, you know. And speaking of rhythm games, you've got Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. I actually really enjoyed this. I kind of like these like music and rhythm games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and Dance Dance Revolution. So if you're into that sort of thing, it's actually a really cool game that uses Mario music and Mario characters. I remember at one point it was kind of hard to find. I don't know if that's still the case, but if it's not, would recommend it. This is the startup disc for the Game Boy player, which lets you play Game Boy games on your GameCube. I just like printed out a box art for it to make it look all nice, because before it was just in like a little tiny plastic case. Next up we've got Geist. I haven't played this, but from what I've heard it's good. It's like a horror game, which is strange on the GameCube, but I hear it's actually good, so. Harvest Moon Magical Melody. This is the first and only Harvest Moon game I've played, and it was okay. I mean, I don't... Based on this, I don't understand all the hype behind the series, but maybe that's because this may be one of the weaker ones. I don't know enough about the series to actually say for sure. But it was okay. I mean, it's an alright game. Kirby Air Ride. This is a good game. I wish they would make another one of these, because this game had a lot of potential and it was a lot of fun to just ride around and roam the city. The multiplayer was really fun. Yeah, this is a good game. Mario Kart Double Dash. I've spent hours and hours in this game from when I was a kid to now, and I still think this is probably my favorite Mario Kart. The 2 riders per kart mechanic worked really well, especially for multiplayer, because it encouraged co-op play. A lot of my friends aren't as good at Mario Kart as me, which makes it not fun for them to play against me because they're never going to be able to come in first. So having them like, you know, like throw items or like switch off driving at some points is actually a really cool mechanic, and I wish they would bring that back so that less skilled players can still feel like they're winning, even when playing against like people in their family or their friends that are like a lot better than them. Next up we've got Mario Party 7. It's a good Mario Party. This is probably the last good Mario Party before they all started going downhill. 8 is okay, but 9 and 10 are just awful. I love Mario Party. Me and my friends play it all the time, and I wish they would go back to this style of Mario Party, because I mean 1 through 7 were really good, and then they kind of ruined it all. I'm going to do these two at once. We've got Naruto Clash of Ninja and Naruto Clash of Ninja 2. I actually got these in a vlog way back when. I think I've played Clash of Ninja 1 a little bit. It's just your typical fighting game with Naruto characters. It's nothing like too crazy, but it was pretty fun. Need for Speed Most Wanted. This is a great game. I've never actually played it on the GameCube, but my cousin had it on the PS2, and every time I went there I'd play it. And so I got it for the GameCube, but this is a really good game, a lot of fun. A lot of the newer Need for Speed games haven't been that good, but this one's really good, so I would recommend it if you have a GameCube. There's also a new Most Wanted, which actually is not the same game, which is strange, but it's not, so be aware of that. Then we've got Pac-Man World 2. This is a really fun platforming game, which you would think is just like shovelware, not that great, but it's actually really fun. It's hard to explain what the game is actually like. It's like almost your typical platformer, but then it throws in some curveballs in there. It's a lot of fun. I would highly suggest that you at least give it a try. Next up we have Pikmin. Everybody knows about Pikmin. I've never actually beaten this game, so I got it so that I would be able to actually play through the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Next up we've got the Prince of Persia games, The Two Thrones, and Warrior Within. These are actually pretty good. I feel like they often are written off because they're Prince of Persia, which the newer Prince of Persia games are all very, very bad. These two are part of a trilogy, which also includes The Sands of Time, which is the first one in the trilogy. And they're actually all really good games. The Sands of Time is probably my favorite one out of them all. But they're all really good games, and I would actually suggest them if you have a GameCube or PS2. I also think they're on Xbox, but I don't know that for certain because I've never had an Xbox. So I know that they're on PS2 and GameCube. So if you have one of those, I would suggest them. Next up, we've got Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. I played this game after I played Sonic Adventure 2, so to me it felt much like a step backwards. I don't know, the game is okay. It's not the greatest game ever made, but for its time it was pretty impressive, and it has a lot of fun stuff in there. I wish they would do a full remaster of this game because I feel like they could really iron out the bugs, make the, what's it called, like the mouth moving more consistent with what they're saying. Just fix everything that's wrong with the game, because the core gameplay is fun. There's just a lot of stuff that detracts from the experience. Next up, we've got Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This is, if you saw my top 5 games of all time video, it's in there. This is a really fun game. There's a lot to do in it. There's a lot to keep you coming back, and the story mode is really fun. The Chow Garden is immensely fun. And overall, it's just a really great game. This was the first game I got for my GameCube, and it was actually the reason that I got a GameCube. And I really like this game a lot, so I would suggest that one. Next up, we've got Sonic Heroes. This is an okay game. It's not as bad as a lot of people say it is, but it's also not the greatest Sonic game ever. I'd say it's better than Adventure 1, not as good as Adventure 2, and all those are better than every other Sonic game that have come since. So, it's up there, I mean, in terms of 3D Sonic. It's just not the greatest 3D Sonic game. Next up, we've got Shadow the Hedgehog. This is an atrocity. I remember being really excited for this game when it came out when I was a kid, and then I got it, and even as a kid I knew that it was really terrible. Not that great of a game. Would not suggest this one unless you really want to, like, laugh at the game. Next up, we've got Sonic Mega Collection. This is just the original, like, 3 or 4 Sonic games and then some, like, spin-off games, so, you know, it's OG Sonic. Next up, we've got Sonic Gems Collection. This one has Sonic CD and then a bunch of really weird Sonic games that have since never been re-released except Sonic the Fighters. Sonic R is on here, which actually has never been released other than this and on the Saturn, which is why I got this game, because Sonic R is just a meme. But yeah, I mean, if you want to play Sonic CD or Sonic R, get this. Well, actually, you could play Sonic CD on literally anything. So, if you want Sonic R, you have to get this unless you want to play it on the Saturn. Next up, we've got Sonic Riders. This game, I have mixed feelings on. It's okay, but it's not the greatest. It definitely has its flaws. And instead of improving on the flaws in the sequel, they actually made them worse somehow. So, this is probably the best Sonic Riders game, but that's not saying much. Next up, we've got Star Fox Assault. This is a really, really fun game. I feel like it often gets overlooked because everybody played Star Fox 64 and they want everything to be exactly like that. But as someone who started with this game and then played Star Fox 64 and likes them both, I would say this game is actually really fun, and the multiplayer is insanely fun in this game. So if you haven't ever tried the multiplayer in it, I would give that a try. Next, we have Super Mario Strikers. I just got this recently, but I had it before. This is a really fun arcadey soccer game, and I would highly recommend it if you like Mario or soccer or both. Fun game. We got Super Mario Sunshine. This was actually almost in my top 5 games of all time. This is number 6. Really, really fun game. My favorite 3D Mario game. There's so much to do. Delfino Plaza is an amazing hub world, and all of the worlds that you travel to are really detailed, and I would love to see this remade in HD on the Switch. I think it would look amazing. Next up, we've got Super Monkey Ball and Super Monkey Ball 2. These games are tons of fun. Really challenging at some points, but also like really rewarding when you finally get it done. And they have a bunch of mini games that are a ton of fun. I spent hours on these games as a kid, and they're still fun to this day. Next up, we have Super Smash Bros. Melee. This is a good game. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but it's not my favorite Smash game. It's the one I grew up on, which typically would make it my favorite, but this one's actually not my favorite. My favorite Smash game is Smash 4. I think the visuals in that game and the character selection are a lot better. I mean, visuals granted because it's newer, but I don't know. There's something about Melee that just feels a little off to me when I go back and play it. I definitely like it better than Brawl, and so in that sense it's my second favorite Smash game, but I still think Smash 4 is a lot more fun. As a casual player, of course. I'm not a competitive player, so. And finally we have Wave Race Blue Storm. This is actually a pretty fun game, and it's really, really cheap now. It was a launch title for the GameCube that everyone kind of just ignored, but it's a lot of fun, and I would actually highly suggest you pick it up because it's only like $3 or $4, so if you have a GameCube, it's not much of like a risk if you end up not liking it. So yeah, guys, that is my GameCube collection. There are only a few more games that I actually want for the GameCube. I want Mario Parties 4 through 6, obviously. I want to get Luigi's Mansion and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. But other than that, I pretty much have every game that I want for the GameCube. So this is almost my final GameCube collection, save for a few games. So yeah, I thought I'd make a video on it because it's almost done in terms of where I want it to be. So yeah, guys, that was the video for this week. Remember to leave a like if you liked it. Tell me what your favorite GameCube games are in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.